Mark and I have been gone from the channel for a little while, but we are back, and boy do we have a treat for you all here on YouTube as we are pulling into the Clay City Inn here in Clay City, Kentucky. Let's get out of this van and check it out. This is not just an ordinary inn. This happens to be the inn owned by the leader, founder of the Kentucky BFRO. I am hoping we are going to get an interview today from Charlie Raymond. This is really cool, guys. You are greeted by possibly Nefertia and about an 8'6" Sasquatch. And it doesn't end there. We are here in Powell County, where there is reported Bigfoot activity. Not all who wander are lost. This guy kind of reminds me of Chaka from Land of the Lost. Even the rooms, you are welcomed by Bigfoot. Nice little outdoor area with some Bigfoot food wandering around. We plan on staying here for a couple of days, seeing some sights, and stand by for the interview. Hello YouTube, special gift for you all today. I'm here in Clay City, Kentucky with the founder of the Kentucky BFRO. I am here with Charlie Raymond. And Charlie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself before we start the interview?
Sure. I founded the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization over 3 decades ago. And since then, I've documented over 500 credible reports where I meet the witness in person most of the time. And then once I vouch that it's legit, I will put it on my website. Now I put it on my YouTube, social media. It's a lot easier now to share it. And yeah, so I've been doing this for 3 decades.
Yeah, we're currently staying at his hotel, the Clay City Inn, which has been sold, but he is going to be opening a Bigfoot museum shortly. Do you want to tell us anything about that, and then tell us your YouTube channel?
Sure. So we plan on opening a research center and museum, and I want it to be scientific. I want, when people come in, to present all the different theories about Bigfoot, what it is, its behaviors, all the different physical characteristics, what witnesses have described to us about what they look like. We don't have a lot of pictures and videos, So I'm going to make it like educational. So when you go through, cool, you could form your own opinion. Is it a gorilla? Is it more human? Is it a Nephilim? Does it have supernatural abilities? Is it flesh and blood? I want people to look at all these displays, and then you determine what you think it is, even if if you think it exists or doesn't exist.
That's awesome. My partner in crime, Mark, and I have some questions for you. Are you ready, sir?
I'm ready. Shoot.
Okay. Did you have a Bigfoot experience before starting the BFRO and getting as involved as you are?
No. And people ask me that. Have you seen one? You've done this so long. That's not what started me. What started me was my dad, when I was a little boy living in South Florida, would tell me bedtime stories about the skunk ape. Scary stories. And he would make them, he would embellish them and make them even scarier. And then he would tuck me in and shut off the light. So I went to bed thinking about the skunk ape in Florida. Not often, just enough to, you know, get me curious. And then through my life, I've watched all the shows, In Search of with Leonard Nimoy.
That's my first experience as
Yeah.
well to Bigfoot is In Search Of. We're probably the same vintage.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same age. And I remember watching the Patterson-Gimlin footage one time at a movie theater, and that got me excited. I'm like, wow. And then, you know, kind of went away, went to school and had a family, and then I moved to Kentucky, and I go, man, there's got to be Bigfoots here. The high ridges and the low, you know, deep hollers, and it's the vast wilderness here in Kentucky. And I formed that website, KentuckyBigfoot.com, and people started calling me. And I'm like, wow. And they would spend 2 hours on the phone. Now this is 30 years ago. So back then you got a call, you know, there was no email or text. They'd call me, and 2 hours, and they poured their hearts out and their emotions came through. And I'm like, oh my gosh, these people saw something. And then afterwards they thank me. They say, thank you. My own family doesn't believe me. Thank you for listening. So that got me hooked. And then now I specialize in witnesses, their interviews, because witnesses tell us a lot. We don't have a lot of pictures and videos of Bigfoot. Witnesses, though, tell us what they look like, how they behave, where they live. So that's why I really focus on the witnesses.
2 questions on that. The first one is, with your psychology degree and background, do you think that helps you weed through what is credible and BS? And the second question to that is gone from my memory. So
That's a great question. And here's what I've learned. I didn't learn a lot in college, you know.
well, fair. I didn't either.
I don't remember much, but I do remember from my sociology class, when a witness or anyone tells a story, they try to sell that story to their audience, right? You want to be believed. And something as remarkable as seeing a Bigfoot, you tend to embellish, you tend to exaggerate. You know, like the fish I caught wasn't this big, the fish I caught was this big.
Yeah, the pictures, you hold it out like that.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's a good trick. You know?
Yeah.
So, but that doesn't mean they're lying. That's why it doesn't mean they're lying about their Bigfoot story. You got to get to the facts. So when I interview them, I will ask open-ended questions. Don't lead them. If there's 2 witnesses, that's even better. I'll interview one over here, and then later I'll take the other witness over there and interview him separate and compare. You know, so I really try to narrow it down. Is it a legit sighting? Was it a bear? Was it a person? Are they lying? Once I determine they probably saw a Bigfoot, I will put it on my YouTube channel or on my website. But yeah, even if they laugh telling their story, that's just human nature. You know, because you're like laughing thinking, is this person going to believe me or not? It doesn't mean they're lying. So you got to kind of weed through all that other extra fluff to find out the facts.
I just remembered the follow-up question to that. When they do tell their stories, is there some similarities in the stories that make them more believable? Is there a common denominator?
Yes. All these things you're mentioning is great. I talk about them in my presentations.
Okay.
So a couple of things they mentioned to me. The close encounters in Kentucky where I'm talking daytime, 20 feet away sometimes, they have a human-like face. More human. More human.
Okay.
They have a wide hooded nose,
Uh-huh.
not a gorilla nose. You know, yeah, they have the heavy brow, the big eyes, they're hairy, thin lips, usually squared off teeth, leather-like skin, reddish brown is the dominant color, but you do get black ones, we do get gray ones, white ones, brown ones. But the wide hooded nose is big. The human-likeness to it is big. Now they do say sometimes a gorilla from the back because the sagittal crest, the broad shoulders and kind of sloped, you know, hunched over. And I do get that sometimes from the back. It looked like a gorilla. But when they see him face to face, I get more human-like features.
It's given chills up the back of my neck. That when you first go out into an area to do an investigation, what are the first details that you kind of take note of if you're suspecting activity?
The areas that I go to, and I tell people, do your research, find out where there's been the most sightings. That's going to increase your probability than going behind Walmart. Yeah, there could be a creek back there, or a little ridge or something, but we do think they travel the creeks, you know, like the Legend of Boggy Creek. They always travel the creeks, but creeks are tree lined. Most are tree lined, and every one goes under every single road. So if you think about it, it's a great way to cross a road by going under the bridge, then over.
Yeah, never thought of that.
So the creeks in Kentucky, I'll tell you, if anybody's from Kentucky, the Green River is big, the Salt River, and the Red River here. If you follow those rivers, I've got reports all along those rivers. It's water source for them. It's for other animals, which possible prey, you know, for them to eat. And again, they're tree lined and secluded most of the time. So yeah, I look for creeks, river, waterways, and then high ridges. I do think they like the high ground. They like to watch us. We don't want to walk these ridges in Kentucky. I always say these hills and hollers in Kentucky are too steep and too deep.
Oh, they are. I experienced that today. They are crazy. Yeah. Sorry, I keep looking down at this because
your notes.
The questions are on Kimberly Ann's cell phone that keeps shutting off. So I don't mean to be interrupting on that. I do have some more questions here. I got to ask you. I'm from Minnesota, and I've watched the Patterson-Gimlin video a million times, and I think it's fake. And here's why I think it's fake. In Minnesota, it gets 30 below zero. We have to put all these clothes on to go outside. And if you watch Patty, when she turns, she doesn't swivel her neck like that, you know, like we do. She turns her whole body. And the only humanoids that I see do that are people with neck injuries, where they're turning their whole body. So I don't think the Patty video is real. I'm curious what you think of the Patty video.
Well, it's funny you mentioned earlier, my earlier question, you asked about what are some of the similarities in the Bigfoot sightings.
Yeah.
One of the similarities we get, they turned at the waist and looked at them. They didn't turn their head. They turned at their waist and looked. And the reason is, if you think of a bodybuilder, they got huge trapezius muscle up here.
Yeah,
and no neck. They always said no neck. So it's hard for them to turn their neck because of the trapezius muscle.
Interesting.
So therefore they turn at the waist. So Patty fits in with these other witnesses that see him turn at the waist that I've interviewed here in Kentucky.
That's awesome, because I always thought it was fake, but that makes perfect sense. When you think of Brock Lesnar, you know, he's about as close to a Squatch as there is.
Yeah, that made huge traps and.
Yeah, you probably can't turn your neck because of all the muscle mass there. Looking at your website, you kind of are going along the line of biological versus supernatural or extraterrestrial. How did you come up with that conclusion? Because there's a lot of people that aren't sure, and you're probably not sure either. But
right, I tell people there's different theories out there, and everybody speculates on what these creatures are, and I don't know, but I like to think it's a yet to be discovered hominid like us, because the witnesses say they looked human-like in the face. I think they're highly intelligent. I think they adapted over thousands of years to elude us, to avoid us. Their senses are far superior than our senses. They might be able to see at night and see IR from infrared cameras. Their sense of smell is better. Their hearing's better. They're the ninjas of the forest. They evolved, or not evolved, but adapted over thousands of years to stay away from us. They see us kill things, so they know to kind of keep their distance. I don't think they can cloak, mind speak, go through portals. I might be wrong on that. I do think their hair has special properties to their hair that could refract or bend light, so to speak, or absorb light. I got lots of witnesses that see them almost change color depending on if they're staying in the shadow or the sunlight, and they said it looked like it almost disappeared based on the sunlight hitting it.
So like a chameleon effect.
Yes. Another one, I give you one more
Wow.
example. I got some witnesses, they saw Bigfoot in the water, the Green River, and they were hiding in the woods. They watched the Bigfoot come out of the water, grab a branch, and start to run. And they told me in that interview, the hair looked dry. The hair was bouncing in the wind, yet it was just in the water. So does the hair have oil properties or something? Something about the hair, you know, the polar bears, their hair is clear, but they look white. It's not white hair, but they look white. So I think Bigfoots have adapted over thousands of years to almost blend in with the environment, maybe use their sixth sense more than us, their minds more than us. But yeah, I know a lot of people think there are paranormal, supernatural. I don't know about that. They could be.
Yeah, that's talking about the fur and the chameleon effect. That's the first time I've heard that, and that makes as much sense as anything to me.
Yeah, I like to look at more scientific, proven, like what we know. The octopus and
Right.
I just watched this
Right.
morning on, it was a Discovery Channel. They're talking about some kind of it was an octopus and there was a crab or something that can change their colors. And there's a crab. It was a really weird crab. I wish I could get the name of it. It's long, almost like a lobster, that can see different spectrums of light and can actually see IR, infrared.
Nuts.
There's some kind of crab that can see these different spectrums of light. So I think Bigfoots can see that, and that's why they stay away from our game cameras. I'll give you another example. I had 3rd generation military grade night vision once, and my buddy had another pair of night vision. I can see his IR beam through mine look like a flashlight going through the woods. If a Bigfoot can see that light, that IR, it's not gonna walk over by your game camera. It's gonna stay away from your game camera. You know, this is just things I speculate on. I don't know, you know, we don't know, but.
Two more questions and then we'll wrap it up. This is from my partner in crime, Mark. So I don't know the context of this, but he asks, to the best of your knowledge, has the BFRO, and that could be any of the BFROs, ever altered details of an encounter to fit a specific narrative?
No. And I know great people that are investigators for the BFRO in Kentucky and other states. They're well-educated, honest, good people. I'll be honest, Matt is very selective who he picks to do investigations for his organization. He doesn't want nut jobs, and he wants good, honest, intelligent people to do his investigations. I do not know anybody in the organization that will change a witness report to fit their narrative. Now, I will tell you, in the past, they would leave out dogman reports. I think maybe even supernatural reports, they would leave them out, even though they're reported. Now, though, recently, I noticed Matt on their Facebook group is posting information about their possible paranormal abilities and supernatural abilities. I noticed he's talking about cloaking, mind speaking, some other things, even orbs, things associated with Bigfoot. Now Matt's more open to that, I noticed. But yeah, I don't think anybody altered anything or changed anything that I know of. And if you get caught doing that, and I tell people this, my credibility is everything. I would never hoax or change anything. If you ever get caught doing that, you're done. Your credibility means everything to you.
Speaking on credibility, one of the YouTube channels that I follow is Mike Patterson of Sasquatch, Ontario, who actually has conversations with Nefertia, and they have a back and forth. Have you ever heard any of that?
No.
Okay, it's pretty funny, and I was just curious if you knew about that, what you thought about it. The last question, and we'll wrap this up, is for our viewers, do you have any good YouTube channel or podcast recommendations for people to get more information on this topic?
Well, of course, my channel.
Yes, I've started watching it today.
And you can do it two ways. You can type in Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization or at KY Bigfoot, at KY Bigfoot. My channel is mostly about the witness. I just interview them, let them tell their story. I don't lead them in questioning, and then you be the judge. Now I will tell you, if I interview a witness and I think they're full of it, I don't put it on my channel. I had one person in Ohio, he saw Bigfoot. I'll give you an example. He stood face to face with a Bigfoot for 15 minutes. And I said, you mean 15 seconds? He goes, no, we stood there 15 minutes staring at each other. I think that's BS. Then he tells me afterwards, he's had 3 or 4 dogman sightings as well. So it's hard to get struck by lightning once, but then get struck multiple times. I just thought it was BS and I threw it out. So I do kind of screen my witnesses. So Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization, and then also a good podcast. I like Bobo and Cliff. What is theirs? Gosh, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts.
Okay.
But it's a great one. They have great scientists on there, researchers on there. They're funny, of course, but super smart. I mean, those 2 guys have been around. They've encountered a lot of things. So yeah, Cliff and Bobo's podcast. And I'm drawing a blank on the name of it.
Yeah, no, it sounds familiar. I think that's a pretty popular one, because I think Mark has talked about it a few times, and I think I've run across it as well. And I thank you so much for your time. This was a big treat for our channel, and thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for having me. You got to kind of squeeze it in there. Like I kind of push it up the phone. It's kind of weird.
Oh, there we go.
There you
And it's Charlie Raymond, right?
Yeah. And don't let me forget, there's some stuff that, because your channel is about bad Bigfoot reviews, I have this thing, it's a pet peeve of mine. All the red circles around the pareidolia images people post drives me bonkers, because most of those are just the picture, it's matrixing, or pixelating when you zoom in on it and you can see faces in it. So I talk about that all the time. I even did a fun thing in my presentation one time at Crypticon. I'll do my whole big presentation, and I had a warning thing, like the news came on, like news flash. So everybody's like, what the hell is writing this? And it was like, don't do this. Pareidolia. And I gave the definition of pareidolia.
I've never heard of that before. So.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat thing, and I can explain it.
Yeah, and part of our channel is what we want to do is kind of talk about some of the really awful Bigfoot channels.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of what we think about them, because there's some low-hanging fruit out there. There's some some bad stuff out there.
Some bad movies too. I mean, I don't watch a lot of them, but I think if you watch mine, you'll see it's just straight. Most of it's just witness videos. You'll watch some of the longer ones that I made of us doing our expeditions.
Okay.
See what you think. But I don't have a lot of bells and whistles and stuff. Most of it's just interviews.
Yeah.
Some of it's audio, because it was back in the day where people didn't really have phones. So I just recorded it, like that witness testimony, that sergeant.
Yeah.
So I got to tell you that he did not know I was recording him, and he called.
Really?
He called to go on one of my expeditions. We actually first he emailed me and said, "Is there a hospital nearby?" I said, I better call this guy because there's no hospital where we're going. So I called him, and my phone had an app that will record conversations, and I used that to record witnesses. And a lot of times I forget to leave it on. Thank God I left it on. So he calls me and he goes, oh yeah, you're right, I shouldn't go. I shouldn't go in this. But I'm a no, we're not a believer. I go, what do you mean? And then that whole recording is what he told me. I even made him feel guilty during it, like, because they shot him, killed him. And I said,
Yeah.
I mean, did you have any remorse? Did you feel bad about it? No, man, they came at us. And back then, we didn't know what they were. And they came at us, and we opened up on them. So then afterwards, when I hung up, I go, oh my God, I recorded that. So then I called him later. I said, can I share that? He said, wait till I pass. He has stage 4 cancer.
Unreal.
So he died about a year later. And then I posted that.
His attention to detail with the dust coming off, you know.
Yes.
Ugh. I mean, he saw that.
Yeah,
he wasn't
a lot of
bullshitting.
detail. It's a fantastic story. And again, he didn't know I was recording him. So what's interesting about it, I'll tell you one little tidbit. I was speaking somewhere else and somebody said, I heard that before. I go, no, I think I'm the first guy that recorded that. No,
And in the comments, somebody said it.
I put it. Yeah, I put. So it turns out he did tell that, but only like that year though. He did say it on another YouTube channel. He did tell the same story. Because then the guy said it wasn't even in Kentucky. He sent me the link and I listened, and it was Kentucky. It's the same guy, same thing. He just happened to tell it on another YouTube channel that year, getting it off his chest. It doesn't take anything away from mine because he didn't know I was recording it and he wasn't doing it to be on my channel. So I always thought I was the first person that he told. He actually told somebody else.
Okay.
But if you listen to it, the details are identical. He tells the same story. So I kind of like it in a way because he didn't change the story. But anyway.
Yeah.
That's not a big deal. That sign, I'm kind of blocking that sign. Is it a big deal?
Not a big deal.
Okay.
Not a big deal. All right. And is this the Clay City Motel or Hotel?
This is the Clay City Inn.
Clay City Inn.
Right.
Because I want to do the introduction properly.
So here's the thing. You can say that we have sold it.
Okay.
We close on it. That's why we're moving stuff. We close on it end of this month.
Okay.
But if you want to add, we're opening up a Bigfoot museum here in the area.
Okay.
So we sold this motel, and now we're opening a Bigfoot museum, Kentucky Bigfoot Research Center and Museum, this year. We already bought the property, and we're going to do that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So my wife's going to run that. I'll keep working my day job, and yeah.
This is really cool. I appreciate this. Should we? Holy crap! I didn't know I was recording.
Oh yeah, it's okay.